What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Warriors Report. We have some big news to talk to you about today, and this was a player I have spoken about in the past, and yes, that is Rudy Gobert. So there was some rift between Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. We've heard that all season long, and then there were some reports that apparently Rudy Gobert told the Utah Jazz it's either me or Donovan Mitchell. So I'm going to talk about the Raptors today because some news came out regarding the Raptors saying they could be one of the several teams interested in acquiring Rudy Gobert. Does Rudy Gobert make sense for the Raptors? What would the Raptors have to give up to get Rudy Gobert? I'm going to give you an unbiased opinion and have a look on both sides and whether or not Rudy Gobert makes sense for the Toronto Raptors. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you want to hit the subscribe button as well, that'd be awesome. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Also, guys, I did not hear from P-Tick, so that means I'm actually doing another draw for the Pascal Siakam jersey. I did hear from the other two guys. So I'm going to be picking the winner right here and right now for the Pascal Siakam jersey. I'm doing a redraw. So I'm going to shake this up here. Good luck to everyone. And I am going to pick one winner from here. So let's see who it is. And the winner is Ola Fatogun. So Ola Fatogun. Not sure if you can see it. There we go. Ola, you are the lucky winner for the Pascal Siakam jersey. So Ola, make sure you hit me up in the comment section. Have some sort of email in which I can contact you. If you don't have an email, you don't know how to put it on your profile, just message me on the Warriors Report. And as you guys know, I do like to give a shout out on my video. And the shout out for today's video goes out to El Mac Ulte. So El Mac Ulte, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Thank you so much for supporting this channel through your likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. All right, guys. Now, in order to trade for Rudy Gobert, the first and the most important thing we have to talk about is his salary because he makes a lot of money. And taking a look at his salary cap situation right here, he is making a ton of money. This season, going into next season, not only is he going to be 30 years old, he's also be going to making a ridiculous $38.1 million, which is a lot for the Raptors, if you ask me, because the Raptors' salary cap situation is already very tight. And in order for them to acquire a player that makes so much, is going to handicap their salary cap situation even more heading into the future. Not only because he makes so much money, because it becomes very challenging for the Raptors to trade for him. So by the time his contract is up, he will be 33 years old, which I think is still manageable because the NBA is very different from 10 years ago. When you talked about a 33-year-old player 10 years ago, that would have been very different with modern science and all the technology we have and treatments. I think it's still sustainable to somewhat keep the high level of play at 33 for Rudy Gobert, but that is a lot of money, guys. $46 million is something you pay a superstar player, and Rudy Gobert isn't that. Now, let's take a look at the Raptors salary cap situation, because in order for the Raptors to trade for Rudy Gobert, you have to match salaries as well. So he's making $38.1 million. And when you take a look at the Raptors salary cap situation, you notice there's not a lot of players that make close to what he does. So obviously one player that comes into mind is Pascal Siakam. I'm going to shut that down right away because I'm not trading Pascal Siakam for Rudy Gobert. You lose a lot of offense when you're trading Pascal Siakam. And then I know people will suggest, well, you can always throw in Fred VanVleet or Gary Trent Jr. and package someone else in there as well. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I want to focus on why we shouldn't trade for Rudy Gobert. You're essentially losing two of your best shooters in Gary Trent or Fred VanVleet if you trade for him. I know a lot of people have suggested you can trade one of them for a center. I don't think that is a great idea, guys. Think of this for a moment. Let's pretend for a moment we trade Fred VanVleet, who's making $21.2 million the next season, and you'd have to include more salary as well. So you're still missing about $16 million. And let's say you sign and trade, let's say Chris Boucher to the Utah Jazz. You're including $12 million there. You can include trade exceptions as well to make that work, but then you're not only losing Chris Boucher in his bench scoring, you're also losing Fred VanVleet in his scoring and his three-point shooting. And essentially, now you have a front court of Pascal Siakam, Scottie Barnes, Rudy Gobert, which are three. I mean, I know Pascal and Scottie can somewhat shoot, but they're not known for their three-point shooting. So you're going to have a very crowded paint, and it's just going to make things difficult for Pascal and Scottie Barnes to score as well. So I just don't see a deal happening, to be honest, with the Raptors. I could be completely wrong. Maybe Masai Ujiri seems otherwise. Now let's talk about some of the positives, guys, because when we talk about Rudy Gobert, there's this notion that he is terrible. He's not a good defensive player. He's overrated. He's not quick-footed. First of all, I just want to say there is no 7-footer in the league that is quick-footed. Not your potential MVP, Joel Embiid, as great as he is. He's very slow-footed himself, as is Nikola Jokic. Like, I can't think of any 7-foot big man in the league that's very quick-footed and that can guard multiple positions. So this whole notion that The Raptors need to acquire a 7-foot center, but they also need to be quick-footed. They also need to be able to space the floor, also need to be a great defensive player, a great rebounder. You're not going to find all of those things. First of all, you just can't find a quick-footed 7-foot big man in this league. You just can't. It's like asking a 6-foot point guard to guard your big man in the paint. There's just certain things that aren't meant to be. It's against human nature for a player to be that tall and to be really quick-footed. Maybe in the future, down the NBA, as it continues to change, we'll see that. But you're not going to get that and someone who's a defensive player of the year and someone who can space the floor. Those are rare commodities to find in your big man. So Rudy Gobert, for all of the criticism he does get, he's a great player, because when we talk about defensive players, how much a center like that impacts, I want to use this example. Think of the Cleveland Cavaliers, because going into this offseason, a lot of Raptors fans wanted Jared Allen. But then when he did ultimately sign that contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers, where I believe he was making about $25 million a year, a lot of fans said that is way too much money for someone who can't shoot. But people forget the impact that defensive centers have on a team. The Cleveland Cavaliers went from being a top 3 defensive team in the league to becoming a bottom 3 defensive team in the league. And you saw how much they fell from the standings when they lost Jared Allen. So not everything is about scoring. Not everything is about those flashy numbers. I mean, Andre Drummond probably puts up more flashy numbers than Rudy Gobert. Doesn't mean he is better than Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, oftentimes he's misplaced everywhere on defense because Donovan Mitchell can't guard his guards at all. Neither can Bogdanovic. They're continuously getting blown by, and ultimately that falls on Rudy Gobert to kind of just guard multiple positions, and it leaves him in no man's land. So obviously he can really guard perimeter pillars, if we're being honest with ourselves. But I think the impact that he would have on the Raptors, if the Raptors somehow found a way to acquire him, whether that's a 3-team deal, whether they pay Chris Boucher like $15-20 million a year and sign him, trade him, and include other salaries to trade for Rudy Gobert, which I don't see happening. But again, it'll have a big impact. The Raptors are already a great defensive team, and if they were to acquire Rudy Gobert, without a doubt, they're going to be a top 3 team in the Eastern Conference. Without a doubt. They're going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league, and I think he'll be what the Raptors clearly need. They need a shot blocker. They need someone who can rebound well. I mean, Rudy Gobert has been a beast on the rebounding end as well, and he's also had a box plus minus of 4+. So he's obviously had a huge impact on the floor. I think there's that notion that basketball is changing. I absolutely understand that, but I think another thing we do need to take into consideration is the league is changing in terms of, you see guys like Tyrese Maxey, you see guys like Ja Morant. I'm not comparing the two players, but just in terms of speed and how they're able to attack the basket, you ultimately do need a rim protector. And Rudy Gobert not only protects the rim, he's a great defensive player. I want to say he's a great passer, but he's a decent passer. He can obviously block shots. And I know people will say that he can't really score. We need point production from our center. And I absolutely disagree with this point, because when you take a look at the Raptors starting 5 of Pascal, OG, Gary Trent, Fred, and Scotty Barnes, each of them are able to score the ball, but they also need the ball in their hands to be effective. And obviously you would have to trade a few of them away, or one of them away at least, to acquire Rudy Gobert. And then add in Rudy Gobert, you don't always need every single player demanding the ball or wanting to score the ball. That creates a lot of offensive issues, because use the Boston Celtics, for example. I'll use this all the time. Think of when they had Jason Tatum, they had Gordon Hayward, they had Jaylen Brown, they had Kemba Walker, and even the season before when they had Kyrie Irving as well. They had 4 players on the offensive side that all wanted the ball, and it just creates a lot of issues, because not everyone can get in a rhythm of playing offensively in a flow, and you're sometimes seeing that with the Raptors as well. That's why you see inconsistency from OG Anunoby, from Gary Trent Jr., is because some days they get 20 shots, sometimes they get 5 shots, 7 shots. So again, I know Gary Trent shoots a lot, but in terms of OG Anunoby, that's why it creates some issues offensively when you have too many guys that want ball and they want to score. So you need some complementary players like that. That's why Danny Green worked out so well with our championship. That's why Marc Gasol worked out so well with our championship team, because he didn't demand the ball. So I think for all the criticism that Rudy Gobert gets, I mean, he's still giving you a double-double. He still averages about 14 points a game. He gets so many rebounds, he can just get offensive putbacks as well. So again, there's obviously some cons to acquiring Rudy Gobert, some really big ones in terms of his salary. His offensive game is limited. He can't space the floor, and the Raptors just would be so crowded in the paint if they were to acquire Rudy Gobert. But there's also a lot of positives as well. I think the Raptors are an elite team defensively already. They add Rudy Gobert for some of the things they really need, which is a rim protector. They get someone who can rebound really well. And obviously, they get a traditional big man who can guard multiple players. You know, obviously, Rudy Gobert would be a fun matchup to see him guarding someone like a Joel Embiid, right? So again, it's one of those things that a lot of people are on the fence about. Some people love him. Some people absolutely don't want to pay him for the salary situation, and I absolutely understand that. But I do want to hear from you guys. What do you think of these rumors? What do you think of the Raptors potentially trying to acquire Rudy Gobert? Do you think it makes sense for the Raptors to try and trade for him, or should they target another center? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, guys, I do have a trivia question for you today. And this one is simple and straightforward. Which team had drafted Rudy Gobert? Is it A, Nuggets? Is it B, the Jazz? Is it C, the Clippers? Or is it D, the Bulls? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video, guys. So thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Instagram. It's the Warch Report. Twitter is Warchta. My handles are on my YouTube channel. You can go there and check them out. So that will be it, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.